start with welcoming you all for for another session, Miswaak Live, where we bring our real journeys, experience, and insights from our experts to help you professionally and personally. I'm your host, Shahriar, and today I'm really excited about our conversation. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest, uh, Ahmed Sabbir. Ahmed is currently working as a research associate at OCT Biopharma. His journey reflects a powerful blend of academic grounding and real world industry from all the way Bangladesh to Canada that shaped his courage, adaptability, and continuous learning. We will learn from his journey today. Sabir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure is all mine. It's really interesting to have a friend hosting me, especially like we go back, I don't know, 20 years, more than 20 years back. So it's really nice. Yeah.
Before we begin, right, just a quick note for my audience. We encourage respectful and some constructive discussion. So let's not, please avoid some negative or personal comments. And also, if you have any questions, we have a dedicated question and answer session. So soon we will open it up for you all. So hold it up until then. Uh, Okay, so let's begin with your journey, Sabbir. Tell us about Sabbir. Who is Sabbir?
Sabbir is someone who's still figuring out who he is. So, okay, professionally speaking, I have a bachelor's in pharmacy from Bangladesh, University of Dhaka. Then I served a year and a half as a lecturer at a private university, State University of Bangladesh. And during that time, I felt like a real connection with uh, molecular research. Uh, so I'm gonna go as non-sophisticated terminologies so everyone can understand. Yeah, so from there, I pursued a master's program at NTNU, Norway, and my project was with the Department of Molecular Medicine. I learned uh, everything about like cell biology and stuffs from there. And while I was finishing, two concurrent things happened. One was COVID, and things were not looking very good during that time in Norway, since I was looking for a PhD position and everything. And the other concurrent thing was my wife, back then my girlfriend, she was also pursuing her like higher studies uh, positions. And fortunately, she got a master's position at McGill in Canada. And then the thought came in like, okay, let's settle down. Let's try and figure out if how I can get into like McGill and if similar opportunities are available in Canada. Um, so 122 uh, emails later, I got in touch with one supervisor from McGill. He was really nice. It was really nice of him. He didn't
122.
know.
That's really a
Yeah,
number.
yeah. I have the whole Google Doc till date. So, so the funny story is like I contacted him, I think in uh, December 2020, and then contacted him, like reached out to him around like January. And then I got a reply from him, and the reply was like, I really like your persuasive nature. Let's have a Zoom meeting. So then I did an interview with him, another interview with the whole lab, and he finally offered me a PhD position at his lab. And then I started at McGill at August, I think, 2021.
Okay.
And peak COVID time, came to Canada, did a 2 weeks of quarantine, then started in the lab. Everything was good. Supervisor, he really liked me. Lab mates, we really connected. The only thing that wasn't working was me and my project. For unfortunately, I started struggling. So, and I started noticing that during the um, yearly evaluation uh, exams. I think the first one went well, okay-ish, but afterwards things didn't click. So around like third year, I had a really long discussion with my supervisor and another long discussion with my wife. Uh, so what's it gonna be? I don't feel like I want to pursue this project, and I don't wanna do any like research related stuff half-heartedly.
Okay.
I respect research a lot, so I didn't want to do like like for the sake of doing. I never wanted to do anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, and my supervisor just asked me like, do you feel any pressure from your family? Like it's pretty common, like like Asian students coming abroad, especially in North America, they feel a bit of like peer pressure from their family. Like you feel that like you have to pursue a PhD, you have to finish your PhD. I was like, no, my parents like they
There was no pressure at all.
don't like no pressure, and they actually don't care. They just want me to be like living a good life. And then he was like, okay, why don't you finish with your masters, and then further down the line, if you feel like if you want to pursue a PhD, you will have that opening uh, for the rest of your life.
Right. Um,
And yeah,
right. Right. So I don't take it as a negative vibe, but it's absolutely an inspiring way that you have shared. The thing that I have taken note, which is 122 emails. That is such a number. I'm not sure how many of the a PhD pursuer are actually willing to send such emails and have the conversation on. Anyway, uh, if I may,
yeah,
Ahmed, many people, I mean, I'm slowly moving into the deeper of the conversation today, which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
I heard this. I'm not from pharmacy background. You are the core guy of that field, so you may be the perfect person to answer this. Let's say many people feel in Bangladesh,
yeah,
they still lacks a strong patent and research and development culture.
yeah,
So if I want to ask you, like from your experience now,
yeah.
has I mean, how do you shape this? How do you make a picture out of this uh, career pathway in terms of pharma and life sciences?
I think okay, I will go with one point first, then the other. The first point is you are asking about the patent thing. So the patent thing actually sort of like a geopolitical decision, in my opinion. So what happened was 1995, Bangladesh became part of the WTO, so the World Trade Organization. And during that time, we are considered as the least developed country, so LDC. And they with the WTO agreement, one thing came was the TRIPS. So TRIPS is like trade related intellectual property rights. So to simplify, what happened was Bangladesh was allowed to manufacture and sell any foreign uh, produced medication or drug. And the reason we were given this opportunity was to like take like 20-25 years of a transition period, build up our own R&D facility, build up our own infrastructure, and continue further on, because the agreement is not for like 100 years, it's like 15-20 years, something like that. And then what happened, it was supposed to end in 2015, and around 2005 or 6 there was another uh, big declaration move with WTO, when they enforced the royalty program. So if you are selling a patented drug from a different country, you have to pay a royalty. So they enforced that over like India, since they were graduated from the least developed country. So they were like
I'm sorry, but who you're saying they? Who are they?
WTO, the
Oh,
World
okay,
Trade
okay.
Organization. Yeah. So yeah, so India get enforced into that, like, now you have to pay the royalty if you're doing that. And Bangladesh, on the other hand, they actually pushed it like, okay, we need more time. So they extended the whole agreement till 2026, 2027 December, January. So now it's like the uh, final end. So if nothing happens, if no diplomatic association or diplomatic decision is happening, then we will lose our privilege, since as of November 2026, Bangladesh is officially graduating from least developed country. So now it's developing country. So we're gonna lose the treaty.
Okay.
And practically speaking, in the market, what's gonna happen is the medicines we get, the price of the medicine is gonna boom like 20 folds. And even if it's available, local companies will not have the privilege to reverse engineer any more drugs from any foreign countries. So that's the story, that's the backstory. So why it's important is that we never actually had the vision as a country, like, okay, we had this amazing opportunity of 20 years. We can play with medicines from other countries, like the top notch, like Pfizer is launching a newly patented drug. We can reverse engineer and produce the drug, like manufacture that drug in a local market. But we never had that vision, like, okay, it's gonna end, but what's the next thing when it ends? We cannot continue the whole thing. And that lack of vision just ruined the whole infrastructure for the commercial privatized sector as well as research in academia. And now I'm gonna go to the R&D sector. So since this is, yeah,
This is I'm sorry,
yeah,
but you said like we in Bangladesh they do such reverse engineering of
yeah,
the original medicines that
right,
created by other countries,
yeah,
and after graduating from a least development country to middle income country,
yeah,
we will lose that
privilege.
reverse engineering privilege you're talking about.
Ye- Uh, you do, yes. So you will lose two things. So one is like you cannot reverse engineer anymore. The other thing is like now we don't have to pay any royalty to the company who actually originally patented the drug. So now we have to actually pay them like a yearly fee, like 1 billion or something like that, just to like able
Because
to
we are now
sell the drug.
okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is the actual context, and this actually leads to why the R&D sector is actually really bad in Bangladesh. That's the bluntest way I can say. So no one had the vision, and the whole pharmaceutical industry actually is just jumped in, like we have access to all the drugs, we are just gonna reverse engineer and sell the drugs. I googled it, like in the last 40 years,
Right.
the only the only patent Bangladesh had in the sector of like pharmaceuticals or biopharmaceuticals of
Okay.
health and drug sector was the ORS, the oral delivery saline. And that was actually developed by ICDDRB,
I
which
mean,
is like
the famous
autonomous.
porcelain that we
Yes,
have,
yes. So
that
that's the
oral
only
delivery was.
patent Bangladesh has. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And that wasn't even a government run initiative, because ICDDRB is autonomous. So they get funded by UN and WHO. So they function alongside like Bangladesh Health Ministry and everything, but they are not under the health sector of Bangladesh, like
So
bureaucratic.
diarrhea, the disease that we had previously,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
kind of uh, what do they call epidemic or something? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So
so
epidemic is
unless
like, yeah,
unless we face such catastrophe, we
yeah.
don't patent any medicines.
No,
But but in
and
but in
yeah,
terms of coronavirus, you
yeah,
see,
yeah,
even though it's a huge catastrophe,
yeah.
why were we not able to patent such medicines that
Because we don't have the infrastructure. That's the answer. So we don't have the infrastructure. So simultaneously, couple of things happen when you are investing in like R&D in a national level. So your academic research, so you can look at that as a pilot projects.
right?
So those get funded from the government or the private companies. That didn't happen. Privatized companies who could have like I know I don't know, like build a really strong infrastructure, since they had like a long time to do that, they didn't do it. So it's sort of impossible. So, and adding to that difficulty is that vaccine or like medicine that's actually uses like biological entities, it's even harder. Like manufacturing a like a capsule or a tablet for like a paracetamol, that's compared to like a biological, like let's say vaccine, compared to that, manufacturing a tablet or capsule is much easier. But when you are like handling a like a live vaccine, like live virus, and manipulating it, then you have to test it on like mice or rats, and
We
then
have more challenges.
scale up. Yeah, so you have to scale up like stage by stage. There are like মানে, half of the task is just ethical things. So
Right.
we never had the policy, we never developed any policy, we never uh invested, like we actually never thought about it. Like legit, that's the answer. Like we don't have the
Understood.
infrastructure to do that.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah,
Actually, for PhD, we were talking about that
yeah.
122 emails. I can't forget that number, at least throughout the session.
Yeah.
Uh, I really appreciate the consistency you had. Uh, let's say students often they struggle between pursuing PhD and gaining some industry
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
How do you personally weigh academic research versus practical experience?
I think it's actually a very tricky topic. Tricky topic in the sense like there's firstly there's a societal stigma, and there's a lack of transparency. So uh, most of the like people I know, or even myself, when I left Bangladesh, the whole idea was I want to do research. I want to do like establish my career based on my research, and very uh, like little percentage of the people that lives Bangladesh, I think, have a like a very strong idea. Like, okay, I want to do research where I want to see myself in like 5, 10, 15 years. So it switches. But again, as I said, there's a societal stigma, there is a peer pressure. Like you have to finish, you feel the pressure like I have to finish the PhD. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's a very good thing. Once you have a PhD, you have a very solid like expertise in a particular areas, and based on that, you can get a job. But uh, my personal experience since I finished with my master's was a bit of like a jack of all trades. So since I didn't have the specific expertise, I had like a broader expertise, sort of. So even the job I got now, it required my expertise from back my bachelor's, like pharmaceutics. At the same time, they also needed someone who can do like cell-based research, like molecular research. So it just combined. But if you ask me like to weigh, like what you asked, like PhD versus industrial experience, over here, uh, companies, at least in my sector, like health science sector, um, they would prefer someone with industrial expertise at like for hiring at any level. Like even if they're hiring an intern, they would like put in the job posting like, okay, if you have any expertise, if you have worked in the industrial setting, that would be an asset. So they don't say like we want someone to have the industrial expertise, but they slightly mention it like it would be an asset. And the other thing is, since I didn't do my PhD and it's not specific, I had a wide array of positions and
Yeah,
like companies.
I will go into that. That
Yeah,
you said like you did not
yeah,
do your PhD, but you said that in the job posting they do mention about the industrial experience. That's what
right.
exactly same thing Bangladeshi job openings they do, right? What is
Sort
the
of, yeah.
difference? I mean, you mentioned that in Canada, or it's same for the whole world.
I don't think so. I don't think so. The reason being, it depends on how the society or the geopolitics actually affects the whole market. So, for example, like Canada or US, it's a capitalistic country.
Mm.
So it actually forces the companies to hire efficient uh, employees who have already some experience. But if you move to like a socialistic countries like Norway or in Sweden, so they have specific programs just to hire like fresh graduates. So they have a cap like if you have graduated like more than 6 months ago, you cannot apply for this job. So they make sure that once you graduate, uh, you get a job. Even in Singapore. So Singapore is like one of the ideal uh, examples. So they have the government ensures that the fresh graduates they get a job. So they have caps like if you have graduated in let's say March 2026, these are the jobs for you. So they have like specific criterias.
So you don't have it in Canada?
Uh, there are some co-op opportunities or like internships uh, that are specific for like students who are still pursuing their bachelor's or master's or have finished, but it's not to that extent. It's like the number is like pretty minute.
Well, well, in that case,
Yeah,
just one line summary. Let's say I'm a pharmaceutical graduate,
yeah.
and what should I pick first when I, leave my country? PhD or a job? When I say I leave my country, I specifically mention it's Bangladesh. So let's say our graduates
Yeah,
who are I mean who intend to go abroad for
Yeah.
whatever reason it is,
Yeah.
should I pursue a PhD or a job?
Well, I would say the most realistic answer would be to pursue a PhD because uh, for a company to hire an overseas employee, it's much more difficult. They have to sponsor you. They have to negotiate with the trade union, like why we are hiring someone from another like why we are hiring someone from Bangladesh. Why can't we find someone for this particular job in Canada? We don't have anyone who graduated who can do this job. So these are the things the companies tend to avoid. If you have like very specific skill sets that the company needs and they cannot find someone, they will sponsor you, but that's like 0.0001%. I know a couple of people who got like the Canadian government actually provided their permanent residency, flew them from Bangladesh to Canada, but that's like really minor. That's I don't think that's a realistic way to approach.
Understood.
Yeah,
Understood. Okay. So, all right. Now let's discuss about your PhD. You said like your decision to step outside the traditional PhD track.
yeah.
I mean, uh, uh, what is it? What influenced that choice, and what did you learn from it? I mean, why did you had to pause at the middle of your PhD and then move to the industrial experience or something like that?
I think uh, when me and my wife we actually figured out, like we actually had a long conversation about it. Like I was actually struggling, and by struggling, not only uh, with work or the background study that requires, I was like the whole thing impacted my life. I wasn't sleeping well. I was sort of like borderline depressed, I would say, even though I haven't been diagnosed, but something like that happened. And then again, I never I never did anything in my career like half-heartedly, like just to get a PhD. I want to do it no matter what. I never
It was never structured.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay, okay, yeah.
So
And it's
yes,
absolutely fine, okay? If you, I mean, we can start something out of our own will, and then we can stop at some point also out of our own will. So,
yeah.
okay.
I think, and the learning thing is the learning part was like once I passed that phase, like okay, I don't have to do the PhD. One
Right.
thing is done, then I legit don't care about like the peer pressure or anything,
Mm.
because my career, it's my mind to build up. So
Right.
once I passed that phase, like, and like sort of like I became like fearless, like what's the worst thing's gonna happen? you know like okay, I'm gonna find a job, and no one, like I haven't heard anyone like not getting a job. So it might take a while, but I'm gonna get a job. So what's the worst thing gonna happen? Like I apply for a job, I get rejected, and I don't like hear back from anyone. Like that
So you
happened.
were just to take, I mean, let's see what happens, just like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. And either ways, like even if I finished my PhD in the ideal scenario, what was the uh, like future plan like 5 years back? I don't, I, I don't think I had any plans to stay in academia. So either ways, I would have switched to like industry. So that also played a role. Like, okay, if I want to end up in industry, I finish now. I start searching for job. I get a job like a year or 2 years earlier compared to when I would finish my PhD and then start searching for jobs. So why not start now?
Right, right, understood. Uh, Sabir, let me also who joined very late. Let me give them a bit background. We are hosting Miswaak live session, and we have our guest speaker Ahmed Sabbir, who is currently a research associate at OCT Biopharma. We are learning from his experience, his roadmap from all the way to Bangladesh to Canada, landing on a job, quitting PhD. It doesn't matter if you pursue some industrial experience while you were in the midst of a PhD degree. So, Sabir, at this point, I would like to ask you a little bit about job market reality, which you already mentioned a
Yeah,
bit in your previous question answers. From where you stand today,
yeah.
what kind of job opportunities should young professionals, especially our Bangladeshi student, and as well as other countries also, uh, realistically focus on, both locally and globally? I mean, apologies, let me read my message again. What kind of job opportunities should young professionals realistically focus on, both locally and globally? When I say locally, only focus on Bangladesh. When I say globally, outside of the Bangladesh. Over to you, Sapit.
I think the local job industry didn't change that much, especially like in the pharma industry. So the local job opportunities, like you can narrow it down to three or four sectors. So one is you finish your studies, get into the academia as a faculty member, but that also requires you to have a PhD since you won't get promoted or anything. So that's one. The other thing is like you get into a pharmaceutical marketing sector, sales. So you develop like medicine portfolios, train like field workers and everything. So that's one thing. The other thing is like if you wanna tweak with like industrial machineries, go to the pharmaceutical plants. And the third would be finish your studies, then prepare for BCS and be a BCS cadre. Yeah, so that's the local market. But things are changing. We see that people now they don't feel the obligation to, like, hey, I graduated from pharmacy, I have to be in the industry. So there are people who pursue MBA or another skilled degree or diploma and pursue their own career. I know people who became entrepreneurs.
Mm.
So but it's changing.
Right, right. So
And yeah,
yeah,
and
so for locally, I have taken note for academy faculty members.
yeah,
You work for the pharmaceutical plants.
yeah,
You go for marketing, sales,
yeah,
and finally BCS cadres.
yeah.
For before going into the globally, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I don't really want to, but I have a lot of things to learn from you, right? So
Yeah,
so
go
my
ahead, go ahead.
audiences are for marketing sales, right? There is a
Yeah,
very funny question we always have in our in our country, like
yeah,
Bangladesh. Those people who sales medicines to the pharmaceuticals or pharmacy
yeah,
or maybe the health institutions,
yeah.
the motorbike riders. So
Not,
once let's say I'm a pharmaceutical graduate, right?
yeah, yeah,
And those who actually have no insight about these job opportunities that you highlighted
yeah.
uh, are 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 they do not think twice before making this comment out, that are you gonna be the motorbike rider? What would you gonna do with
Okay,
what
okay.
are you gonna do?
I'll tell you a short story. So when I got into like a pharmacy, like I made the listing and I got into the pharmacy program. So I called my grandma and I told her like I got into Dhaka University, and she's like, yeah. And she was asking like which subject? Like I was like pharmacy. And she was like, the Jabbar Mia from the next door, he has a pharmacy. Why do you have to study? He didn't study bachelor's of pharmacy. So it's like just a
Lack of knowledge.
lack of knowledge and the understanding what goes around. So, and the motorbike riders, that's also like a very diplomatic scheme that the government of Bangladesh played. So what they did is like they segmented like pharmacists into like four different categories, like A grade pharmacist, B grade, C grade, D grade. So A grade are pharmacists are those who actually has a bachelor's degree. Then B grade and C grade, I think you have to finish a diploma. Or D grade is like you affiliate yourself with a pharmaceutical company. They will teach you how to do field work. So they are for D grade, and they are called like the pharmaceutical representative, the people you see on motorbikes, waiting outside the hospital and asking for like,
Yeah,
can I see your prescription, whether
right.
the doctor prescribed my medicine or not? Yeah. So that segmentation actually happened due to some lobbying, but it shouldn't have.
Understood.
It shouldn't have. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, now for the global aspect, what would you highlight in terms of job openings and opportunities for the knowledge?
So globally, if you are into research, uh, pharmacy, I think, opens up a lot of opportunities because it's a compound subject. Uh, so you can have a start from like chemistry to physics to biomechanics to sports physiology, whatever you want. And from like active job, from the active job perspective, I would say the most common one is in Canada is the retail pharmacist. So basically, retail pharmacist is the person who's responsible for selling you the medicine at a pharmacy, like a drugstore. But to do that, you have to do a regulatory exam in Canada, which is notoriously difficult, uh, like really, really, really difficult. So that's equivalent to Mr. Dabbar in Bangladesh. Yeah.
Uh, uh,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Anything else you want to add for that?
And other than that, if you want a research-based position in biopharm, like pharmaceutics, biopharmaceutics, biotech, it all starts from like lab technician to research assistant to researcher, senior researcher, all depending on your expertise and your skill level. So there are opportunities, but uh, everything gets influenced by the recession, like external factors like recession or global investment patterns, like which companies acquiring which company or which companies are merging. So you have to be like very up to date, like what's going on. Yeah.
Right, right. So, thank you for that information. Let's take some of our guests' questions.
Yeah.
We're getting some of the comments in our Facebook Live, but also people who have joined us in a Zoom session. Kindly, if you have any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask questions to our guest speaker directly. One question I have from Rafat Ahmed, coming from Facebook Live. Any breakthrough on the cancer research? Like, is there any cure for that? Over to you, Sabir.
It's happening. It's happening, but it's a very regulated field of research. And the more we are going forward with the research, we are finding more anomalies. So let's say 10 years back, when a person said like, okay, I have like, let's say breast cancer, the patterns we used to see, or the patterns that the pharmaceutical companies would look for, is much uh, less complex than we have now. So as the uh, age of the population grows, uh, the mutation starts to kick in. This is like evolutionary biology 101. So the more the generational people, the more mutation, and it becomes more difficult to manufacture or like diagnose specific types of cancer, because it's one uh, type of disease that's different for each person.
Mm.
So if you talk to two-person with the same like diagnosis, like okay, these two patients have let's say breast cancer, but their symptoms, how their body is getting affected, if they are under any treatment regime, how their body is coping up with that, it's totally different. So breakthroughs happening. There are much more stronger tools available these days, but it's not gonna be like one pill for everyone. So that's why I say like it's gonna take a while. Yeah.
Right. So, a follow-up question from my side, Sabir. I'm really sorry,
Yeah.
but this cancer treatment, right? Uh, do you think? I mean, it's like personal opinion that when these sort of disease spread out
Yeah.
and we don't have enough uh, capable doctors available in our country,
Yeah.
do they start really research on the real patients, and then with those data they prepare some medicines afterwards? Let's say the way they used to give chemotherapy to the
Yeah.
patients back in 2012 or
Yeah.
2015
Mhm.
is completely changed by now, and they do realize that it's not the chemo we should start with. It's something maybe for also subject to the patient physical capability. They start with some medicines, even though there are some severe stages. They are in some severe stages of cancers.
Yeah.
So, is this normal in all the countries, or it's only in Bangladesh?
I think in Bangladesh it's a bit difficult. Difficult in the sense the diagnosis process is uh, a bit backdated. And the other thing is it's specific. I would say it's specific to not only specific to Bangladesh, but it's specific to any like country with like large population with not so good uh, health sector support, is that most of the patients who are actually diagnosed with any type of cancer, it's because they have been suffering for a while, and when they cannot actually take it anymore, they go to the physicians. So it's already too late. The too late in the sense is that if you like just compare to neighboring country, let's say Singapore.
Okay.
So Singapore, they have a bylaw by the government, like every citizen has to do a health screening on a like a yearly basis.
I see.
So even so, you can actually see if anything is going wrong. You can actually see the progress, right? So the progression actually gives you a better idea like what's going on. It gives you a better idea like how long it's gonna take or something like that, or like it's gonna give you like okay, we need to start the treatment pattern and everything. So that's the issue with the diagnostic sector, I think, with Bangladesh.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the treatment sector is that the chemotherapies again, since the patients are already aged, it's the like health condition and the body itself is like already have deteriorated. It's really difficult for the body to cope up with the level of intense medication they are provided. The chemotherapy, it is really intense on your body. Uh, So even a healthy person goes through like severe symptoms
Chemotherapy.
after the chemotherapy. Yeah, even the radiotherapy is the like same thing. So the as soon as you can diagnose, as soon as you can start the treatment, the better chances of like recovery. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. Uh, all right. Let's jump into some resume and preparations for the freshmen.
Yeah.
When it comes to resume and career preparation, what are some common mistakes you, as a pharmaceutical background, see, and what
Yeah.
would you make someone stand out?
A lot. To start with, you see a lot of nice looking, colorful templates online. You can just search like, Eurostar CV template or whatever, like Oxford CV template. Please don't use those. Please, please don't use those if you are from a life science background, because those CVs actually follow like particular patterns. So if you just start searching on like YouTube or Google like XYZ or star pattern for resume templates. So the XYZ is like you establish a context, like what you did, how you did it, and what was the result. And the star is the situation, task, action, and result. So the reason I'm saying like don't use those if you are from a life science background is all the templates are for numeric are for like CVs that provides numerical values. Like like I uh, I trained 100 like employees to do this, we generated like 20% more revenue. So life science student, this is not applicable for us. So don't use those resume template, please. And the other thing I would say is keep it simple and consistent. If by consistent, I mean if you're using like let's say for timeline like Jan 2020 to like Feb 2026, use the same format everywhere. Or if you're using a particular spacing, use the same spacing everywhere. If you're using a like a particular like font, uh, a particular style, use the same font everywhere. Don't like decrease the font size just so that you can just cramp up a bit more information in one page. Don't do that.
Right. So can you
Yeah.
can you can you tell us just one thing in a pharmaceutical job seeker's resume you would be looking for?
I would be looking for a short summary of max 2 to 3 lines at the very first thing in the CV. Then I would look for their core competencies. So the core competencies should highlight their skills that are actually applicable for the job they are applying to. And if I like those things, those two things, I might
Accept that.
go down and read like, okay, what was his project, why did he study, where did he work, blah blah blah.
Okay.
So that's actually it works. That's how it works.
I absolutely agree. We have been talking about only pharmaceuticals,
Yeah,
pharmaceuticals,
yeah,
pharmaceuticals.
yeah.
What is the difference between biopharma and the typical pharma?
Okay. So the basic difference is like when you say pharmaceuticals, you are talking about only medicines that are manufactured in the form of uh, like a like a like the typical shapes of format. That's the easy way to explain. Like you are providing a chemical, you are making a formulation, you have a recipe, you made a tablet or capsule or a pellet or whatever it is, or something like that. But when you're talking about biopharmaceutics, that's when like hormones, genes, those things kick in. So let's say insulin. it's pretty common. So insulin, if you want to produce a insulin, your facility will be named as Biopharma. So insulin cannot be produced by a facility that's pharmaceuticals. Company's name is gonna be maybe pharmaceuticals, but inside the company you have to like make an annexer like, okay, this is the biopharmaceutical facility. This is where I'm producing insulin, something like that, and so on. So next is like the biotech. So if you go to biotech, it's gonna be more robust towards like stem cell therapy, those kind of things. Yeah.
All right. We actually we had a dedicated question and answer segment. So I'm opening the ground now for our audience.
Mm.
If you have any questions, please, people who from Zoom joining us, you can unmute and ask your questions directly to our speaker. And people in Facebook or YouTube watching us live, you can just simply drop your questions in the comments section. So, Sabir, thank
Yeah.
you. One question, I mean, about AI, right? It's
Yeah.
now AI industry, AI revolution, or whatever you say,
Yeah.
industry AI. Do you see any AI influences in pharmaceutical industry in terms of research or maybe leadership role?
Yeah. 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 A lot, and the the big companies are actually investing a lot in AI. So it starts with like simple tasks like faster literature review or like predictive studies. Then it goes to like, the method you are gonna use. It's a new method. So you make a simulation and check like whether the simulation actually produces a viable result or not. And then if you go to into deeper, like now we can actually predict like protein structures and like binding patterns and everything. So you don't have to rely on your test results only. So you can actually use uh, like uh, mm, like platforms like Python. So there are dedicated Python softwares PyMol. So that's like molecular structuring for with Python. So you can actually predict. You can actually see the pattern of a protein structure. And once you see that, that actually helps a lot to screens like wo- whether you wanna work with it or not. Then augmented molecular design. So that's another thing. So you can actually design drug molecules based on the literature and the background knowledge we already know, and it's like mm, pretty precise and accurate. And for the leadership roles, I think they are still uh, finding new ways like how to apply AI. So predictive safety and failure strategies, that's like the pretty common in biopharma.
Okay.
So you make a simulation of your whole facility, like this is how my factory looks like. And based on that and the data sheets and your like safety guidelines, the software actually gives you, okay, these are the particular areas you should be very careful about, like these are the areas which can be have like a much higher percentage of failure, or yeah, something like that. And yeah, apart from that, I think the other thing is portfolio management. So that's getting a lot of um, help from AI. So let's say you are in a managerial role of a company. You are
Okay.
mm, you are in charge of like 20 different products. You use a software, AI software, you give all the data, it's gonna just sweep in everything, like what you need, what to order, who's taking in charge of it, like you're gonna get all the data. So I think these are the things still getting implemented in the
Understood.
biopharma sector. Yeah.
Understood. Uh, I hope this session, Sabir, is not felt something like interrogation. It's
No, no, no.
yeah. I really want to learn a lot about it. But
Uh,
one last question that I cannot ignore, which
yeah,
is which is the cross border opportunity. I mean, I'm
mhm,
running this show from Japan, and
yeah,
I'm looking for opportunities for my people in Bangladesh. You are joining us with your kind agreements from Canada.
yeah.
How, I mean, is there any cross border opportunities, at least in a very short line? Maybe your company has any chances to do business with Japan or Bangladesh?
Yeah. Um, my company, I'm not so sure yet, but I can give you some grow like some streamlines which actually have some legitimacy. So I know there are collaborations going on between the McGill and University of Kyoto, I think. So there's one thing called the crown jewel. So what it's for PhD students. So you get co-supervised by two supervisors, one from Japan and one from Canada. It's like
Okay,
a really nice opportunity, and they are in 2026, I think they are focused here on like population genomics and quantitative genetics. So if anyone is interested on that, like that can lead to like biobanking data analysis kind of jobs. The other thing I know is I think it's a Canadian federal thing. So there's a non-profit organization, MyTex, that's pretty known in Canada. So
okay.
they actually have a collaboration with Japan. Uh, the name is like the Sakura Science.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So they are actually working with AI adaptation with SME, like the some small, medium-sized enterprises. And what's particularly interesting about them is like they like advertise that fresh graduates and even newcomers in academia, they can actually launch their own ideas if they have anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. That was really a meaningful session, Sabir. Uh, Before we moving toward closing, I would like to share something important, which is the key insights and highlights from today's discussion will be carefully documented and published in our quarterly Miswak journal. And our aim is just not to, host this session, but to build knowledge bank from where people can learn in the long term. Now, Sabir, before we wrap up, I would love to invite you to share your closing thoughts, especially for the students, early career professionals, or anything. And lastly, a few words for Miswak session also.
sure. Thanks for the invitation, actually. I I truly believe that everyone has something to say, and to get this opportunity through Miss Work official, it's a pleasure. And not everyone gets this opportunity, and I feel like really lucky, and I feel actually uh, more lucky since uh, I'm not talking to a random person. So the person I'm talking to is like we go again, I don't know, 20-25 years back. So that's it. And if I have to give a message, I would say uh, it's really important that whatever we do, we like to do that. Uh, don't uh, get into that, you know, cliche mindset like I have to do it. So you're spending one third of your day every day at a place. If you don't like it, it's gonna affect you, and you are more than an employee. You're a human being. So
Right.
it's gonna affect other aspects of your life. That can be your personal life, that can be your conjugal life, that can be other things. So
Right.
yeah,
Any comments from Luba?
No,
All right.
it was a good talk. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Let me go into my partner appreciation just real
yeah,
quick.
yeah,
Before we conclude, a quick appreciation for our partners. Actually, for our audience in Japan, you can shop curated products through Miswak on Amazon Japan. You simply go to www.miswakofficial.com, and under Shop Now tab, you will see the Amazon products is listed here. You can search and you can buy from there. For an automation tool, with what we have is called Elbato, that helps streamlining your workflow and streamlining your workflow and connect applications efficiently. And one more e-commerce site, which is a London-based e-commerce site, Kronjaeger platform, that's serving globally for the customers. One another thing. Okay, we got a message from. Jump to the latest. No, looks good. Uh, for special series we have, which is Miswak Ramadan series, a reminder to everyone during this Ramadan 2026, we will be running a special session, live session every Saturday, bringing our scholars from Pakistan, and also he has experience in Saudi Arabia. Will be sharing his practical knowledge each week, and we will see you again in March with another exciting conversation. Sorry, I got a little bit of cold. So stay connected with Miswak. Thank you all for being part of today's session and making it meaningful. Until our next time, keep learning, growing, and keep following us. Thank you all. We will close the call now. Thank you, Sabbir. Thank you, Ahmed Rayhan and Luba, and whoever is watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.